Listen.
If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Now, sometimes people say, well, you mean everything that I understand will confuse me if I don't understand racism? Yes, because racism is the dominant political and religious motivating force among the people of the planet in all 9 areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. That covers just about everything that any person, minute by minute, might be doing or engaged in any time of day or night, anywhere on the planet. White supremacists have a goal, and that goal is to have fun, to have glory, and to have material comfort. And they decided that their fun, their glory, and their material comfort would derive from the domination and mistreatment of people of color worldwide in all 9 areas of activity, 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in all 9 areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And that by dominating and mistreating non-white people, people of color, black, brown, red, yellow, anybody with color in his or her skin, they would get fun, glory, and material comfort. And they do not want to turn loose to that philosophy or that way of doing the world business. And they'll become the most powerful people in recorded history in getting their fun, glory, and material comfort from that ideology and that practice. They're already successful. They're not trying to do that. They have already done it. Because all of the people who are classified as non-white are under their thumb on this planet. And what they get out of it is fun, glory, and material comfort. Now, in order to continue this thing called white supremacy, you have to have people to be supreme over. And if you just stop and think about it and observe it, you say, what is racism really for? What is it all about? And it's just for those 3 things. And it has nothing to do directly with what kind of work you're doing or anything. The white supremacists themselves are the most diligent workers on the planet. Nobody works like they work. But they don't work what you call hard. They invented that term. They work smart. And they try to see to it that non-white people work hard, but not work smart. Okay? That's 2 different things. See, but you can say working smart can be hard. Well, it can be, depending on what you mean by hard. But these are just words that can be confusing. Hard work, soft work. Well, any work that accomplishes what you are setting out to do is nothing but work. You can take that hard off of it, and we need to stop even saying that. The code recommends that. Stop saying hard work and easy work. Work is just work. You know, you have to exert more. I used to hear sometimes when I aspired, because I, looking for somebody to copy after, so I looked up to black musicians. And I, all during school and whatnot, I would be singing songs in my head, sitting in a classroom and all like that, or hearing bands play in my head while the teacher's talking, okay, because I thought that it'd be nice to be Miles Davis playing the trumpet or Bill Eckstein singing a song and all like that. But when I got around some musicians, they say, well, I'm going to work tonight. And that that word work struck me as odd. But see, anything gets to be work when you got to do it. I find to figure that out at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is work if you have to do it at a time when you don't feel like doing it. And that's whether you're a professional golfer,
mm-hmm.
or a basketball player, or a skier. You know, a basketball player that's been doing it for years say, I'm going to work. Sometimes, occasionally when they were talking, they would say, well, I'm going to be working in Kansas City this weekend. You know, we got a gig in Kansas City. And they would use that word work. And I say, you're a trumpet player, or you're a drummer, or you're a singer. And you call that work? But it was work.
Mm-hmm.
Because, see, these engagements that they had, they liked what they were doing, but even when you like what you're doing, it's just like sitting down to a meal, and you have a very tasty meal on that particular day. But if you have to have that meal every day, you might consider that to be not very tasty. All right?
Yes, sir.
And so then, you know, I realized then, yeah, anything, it depends on how you want to look at it. Anything can be work, and anything can be pleasure. And then I thought of work all the time, I mean, in different dimensions and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I just mentioned that, the word work. What is work?
Okay.
When are you working and when are you playing? All right? Sometimes when other people say you're playing, is work to you. Like one person told me that as a little boy, and I've had that experience in one form or another. I think everybody has, that he went to an amusement park, and the person who was operating the Ferris wheel, you know, was on the job, and he said, "Oh, you're right here in the middle of, you know, something that's the equivalent of an amusement park, where all of these lights are glittering and whatnot, and people are having fun and all like that." But he noticed that the person who was running the Ferris wheel did, even though he was in the same age bracket or approaching that, just a few years old than the person who was telling me about the story. And he said he noticed that when he mentioned to the person that must be a lot of fun, you know, watching people have fun, being in the middle of everything that is fun. And the person looked at him with a strange look as if to say, I'm not having fun. This is work. I mean, I'd much rather be somewhere else. And so these are things that people can think about. What's work to one person may be fun to another, and what's fun to one person may be work to another.
Okay.
And even to the same person. If you're doing something over and over again to the place where you're bored with what you're doing, like being a lifeguard, they might say, he's not working, he's just sitting up there and whatnot. That lifeguard says, I'd much rather be anywhere but on this beach, waiting on somebody to shout that they need to be rescued so I can go out on a surfboard and bring them in. I've been doing it too long. This is work for me. When I first started, it was fun. It was exciting. It's no longer fun. It's no longer exciting. Now, some people have said they've seen some cartoons of my work on the Internet that have been presented, and that it pretty well embellishes what I have been trying to say in my textbooks. And to the extent that it does that, well, that has been, from what I understand, some people reported to me, a plus. Because they didn't understand what I had written very well, but when they saw those cartoons that just repeated what I was saying and attaching my name to it, and came right out of the book, the material did, they say that they better understood it. And I can understand that because people are kind of visual, particularly in the year 2021 now. more visual than ever.